Welcome back to the Ones Who Live podcast with Sonya, Jill, and Kera. We are here to discuss the penultimate fifth episode of The Ones Who Live. Welcome back, ladies.
Thank you. And I have to do a quick shout out because my nephew has started listening to our podcast. So, hey, nephew.
Hey, Sonya's nephew. Okay, so huge episode, special guest in the episode, big death in the episode, proposal in the episode, so many things.
Okay, so the surprise guest, was that who anybody was expecting?
Everyone kept saying Morgan. I didn't think it would be Morgan, but I wasn't expecting Gabriel. For the reason why they brought him in, the reasons, I thought was very clever.
Mm-hmm.
It was, definitely. I thought it would be someone from Fear, because we have not seen anyone from Fear do any crossovers yet.
That's true. It would have been nice to get somebody from Fear, like since Sarah disappeared. Maybe she ended up.
I can't even name all those people. If it's not Morgan or Madison, it's like, all right, I guess.
Well, I thought we would have seen Isabel.
I don't know who that is either.
Yeah.
Who is that?
She was a CRM soldier, and
Honestly,
she defected.
I feel like
what's her name? Al's girlfriend.
Yeah. So I thought maybe we'd see Isabel in some capacity, but I guess not.
I mean,
y'all better than me, because if she popped up, I wouldn't even know who that was.
We still could. I don't know. I feel like I think it would have kind of been a good idea to have like storylines converge where we know Silas was supposed to be joined at the hip with Jadis, which makes me actually think, because a lot of people were like, well, who's flying her to him if no one knows? And I'm like, that's probably Silas. But move on.
I still think we're going to see Silas.
I do too.
I don't think we're done with crossovers. I still think we're going to see him. I think she probably, since she kind of made him her special project, her mentee, I guess. Is that the right? She's the mentor, so he's the mentee. I'm going to guess that he's in some kind of like internship or some kind of like privileged position with whatever group is guarding Beale and the bigwigs that are meeting at the summit.
I think the same thing, because I dove deep into the timeline for this episode, and the World Beyond storyline actually happened over a very short amount of time in 20, and I believe we are currently in 20 on The Ones Who Live. So that would have given Silas plenty of time to move up, get the echelon briefing, and basically get all the training that Jadis wanted to give him. I just don't think that he would have become the person Jadis wanted him to be.
I don't think so either, but I think he's still got a role to play. So I'm calling it now. I know we're doing finale predictions at the end, but I'm going to predict that we're going to see Silas.
They keep talking about Portland, and Iris and Elton went to Portland to try to kind of like head them off at the pass, and I'm like, we could see all these storylines converge at the end, and maybe that's where Rashawn gets their help from.
I'll just say very quickly, in terms of crossovers, the only one I'd like to see, perhaps, is Madison, only because many moons ago there was a fan theory that she was of relation to Rick. Maybe not necessarily a sister, maybe a cousin, but I wouldn't mind seeing that play out. And obviously Morgan, but I don't really consider him crossover, or at least not crossing back towards The Walking Dead. I'm not sure it works that way, but let's move on back to the episode. Let's not get too deep in the weeds.
Well, since it is the first thing that we see, let's talk about that first Gabe sighting at the beginning of the episode. On my first watch, I assumed it was just, he was on his way to wherever he was when Jadis walked up on him. But of course, I went back to analyze every little thing. He has on a long raincoat. He seems to only have his weapon. I don't see him with that crate that he usually has, and he does not have that bag that he usually has either.
I am of the opinion that was probably present day, that they kind of snuck in there. Maybe he reappears again in 6. It's possible, but it remains to be seen. I don't have a whole lot of thoughts on it, but I do think, if I had to guess, I would say that opening shot was present day. So we'll see if it rains at some point in episode 6. And if so, I would expect to see Gabriel.
I agree. I think it was present day. And I think the fact that he didn't have all his stuff with him shows that, the communities are now stable, and he didn't need to be out foraging and looking for food. Like on one of the meetings, he says that um, they were hungry. And so I think in the earlier meetings, he was definitely prepared to find food or find whatever resources he could out there. And the fact that he didn't have any of his gathering stuff with him kind of indicates that he's in a stable situation now, which would mean it was after the finale, or at least after everything that happened at Commonwealth, so that everything had calmed down.
Mm-hmm.
And also, when did he start praying over dead walkers again? I don't. I don't feel like he's done that in some time. Am I tripping?
Well, oh yeah, that's true, because that would be currently. So maybe he restarted. I remember when they were leaving the Commonwealth, he was saying that he finally felt like himself again. He felt like he could communicate with God again. So,
His faith seems to come and go, so
hmm
maybe it's back now. That's one of the things that I never liked about him. I don't know. I never liked the character. And I think it's because he betrayed Rick and he kept selling Rick out when they first got to Alexandria.
No,
He tried to get
that's just
Deanna to
that
keep
one
Rick
good
out.
time.
um, so Gabe was one of my most absolutely hated characters when he was first introduced. I couldn't stand this man. And then we get to Alexandria and he did what he did. And I was like, oh, he just needs to die. Like I've been saying about Jadis.
That's what I was thinking too.
um, I don't know if it has to do with the fact that it's my favorite episode, but the way he stepped up in No Way Out completely changed how I felt about him. And I think it was watching Rick trust him with Judith
Well,
and then
not
his little speech about like God trusting us to help ourselves or something like that. I I just I was like, okay, maybe.
he clearly evolved, but also Rick doesn't just forgive him; he wholly embraces Gabriel as one of his few
Mm-hmm.
trusted people.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like I would like almost like a brother. Like even when Gabriel's taken, he's like, no, Gabriel wouldn't just leave. Like he's like the
Yeah.
only one who's like, nah, y'all tripping. Like got my guy is not gonna do that.
Mm-hmm.
He's my guy. So I think the way Rick read him definitely affected the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I do agree he stepped up in No Way Out, but it wasn't just the way that he stepped up, which I really appreciated. But I think the way Rick took him in, like he would be up there with like I don't know, like a Daryl, I would say the way he trusted Gabriel after that point. So he's fine with me. I didn't understand the whole Rosita thing, but I didn't really care for her. I know a lot of people like her. I don't get it, but whatever. I don't have any issues with him. Although the Jadis thing was also weird. I just wish he could find somebody that I didn't despise. Would be nice. If I have to look at him, I don't have to be grossed out or annoyed. But other than that, he's cool.
Well, I don't think that's going to be a problem now.
I don't know about the rest of the fandom, but I always felt like Rosita was a girl's girl, and that appeals to me.
What does that even mean?
Well, like with Sasha, she was cool with Sasha, even though there could have been a lot of beef there because of what happened.
Were they
But
cool though? They weren't. I mean, I wouldn't
I
call
think
them.
they were cool after the death. After the scene in the clearing, they kind of worked their shit out. And she did really have Sasha's back when they went to storm the sanctuary.
And then she voiced kind of being pissed off at herself because of how she treated Sasha, right
I
after the breakup
guess
with Abraham. She was always there for Carol if she needed her, always there for Michonne, always there for Tara, always she was always, trying to look out for the women in my opinion.
she probably was, but I still didn't care for her. I don't think I don't think anything's gonna change it. I'm sorry, y'all. I just and then that. Okay, we're getting too deep in the weeds again, but I'll just say
Yeah.
very quickly the fight with Beta really pissed me off because like
Yeah.
ain't no way she's going up against. I couldn't go up against that man. I'm 6 feet fucking tall. I'm big. I'm a big girl, and there ain't no way I could have did it. Get out
Yeah.
my
Well,
He was
face.
way too tiny for that.
Yeah.
it's not like she kicked his ass.
No, even the hold him off or whatever you want to call it, it was ridiculous. I'm sorry. Like unless you have superpowers of some kind, unless you got that super soldier serum from the MCU, no, I'm not. Stop it, please.
He
It's
would have
not like
knocked
she
her out with one hit.
it's not
Yeah.
like she thought she was gonna win that fight, but
It's not about what she thought, it's how they portrayed it. I didn't like it was like they were trying to make her some sort of superhero and play in my face. I didn't like it. It's bad enough I didn't like her already. It just made it worse for me. I can't explain it. I get superhero chicks. I've watched a lot of shows like that, but that was just dumb to me. I'm sorry. Anyway, just
well, I'm
we
always
can
gonna
move
hold
on.
down my
I
girls
know
that
you like
aren't
her. You like
pick
her. I
me.
know. I know. I know.
Listen, she is not a pick me, and we have way too many of those females in the world right now.
That is very
Oh,
true. I'm neutral on Rosita, so that's good. We have one who doesn't like her, one who really does, and one who's neutral. But I
make it a poll.
appreciate a girl's girl. I do. I really do. So she's okay with me.
Tasteful nudes.
No, no, no. First,
So
first,
funny.
before we jump into tasteful nudes, how did y'all feel about the song usage? I'm not like the non-original music. I'm not 100% feeling it, but I'm also very particular about what I want to listen to. I don't think it was bad, but it just felt like okay, it's the good life. You don't have to spell it out like that necessarily in a song. They could have chose another happy song. Like I don't know. Hell, they could have went with Stevie Wonder for all I care. I don't know. It just something. I didn't really like it. I didn't like a lot of the artistic choices made in this episode. I'll say that.
Like I felt like it was a clever little wink to the fact that they're in this apocalypse situation, this terrible situation, but they have each other and that's all that they need and they're still enjoying it and there's still beauty in the world even though they're in this fucked up situation. And it kind of seems too like that is how Rick and Michonne are. Like that is just their relationship
Hmm.
is built in this crazy world and they're how do I want to say this? It's the most authentic thing in the world for these two characters to be roaming around the apocalypse, eating noodles, and helping people who need help. Like that is the good life for them. If their kids were there, they'd be perfectly happy. Like that is who they are, is loving their family, loving each other, and helping to save the world. So I thought it was cute.
Yeah, I thought it was cute. I thought it was maybe a little cheesy, but still cute.
See, cheesy. You don't want cheesy. They could have gone a different artists or different song or different theme or something, and it wouldn't have read. Like the music is very, very, very important. Like all the elements are important, but you don't want. I didn't want. I don't need cheesy. I don't need like I don't know. I don't want to walk it back from four, and that's what it felt like. I felt like we walked it back. All the right things were said, but the layout, like it felt off to me. It felt like a downgrade,
The
and of
score
all the
has been
episodes.
great, though. Shout out to Sam Ewing for the score because the original music has been
Hmm.
amazing.
Exactly. The
And
original music is amazing. Michael Slavis did an amazing job. I wish they brought him back for this one. Like the proposal episode, like, hey, let's bring Slavis back and help like have it be kind of a seamless structure between four and five. And it wasn't that. And I wish that it was.
You know what's interesting to me is that Mike Satrazamis did this episode, and normally he is my favorite director in the universe because normally he has such a fine grasp of making things dark and edgy without being depressing or like sometimes when the episodes are really dark everything gets muddy and everything kind of blends together and he's really good at keeping a very sharp focus in dark episodes, but I didn't feel like this episode really was one of his better ones. And I don't know if it's just because it didn't have that dark edge to it. So maybe he wasn't the best director for this episode. I don't know.
I feel
And I
like
hate
it's
to say that because I love his work, but I don't know. I think you're right, Jill, that it was. I don't know. It just didn't feel like maybe it was as sharp as it could have been.
I
Was is
just
he is
feel
he an
like
OG director from the original show? Because
Yep.
a lot of people are like it felt like The Walking Dead, and if I had to pick a season, I'd say maybe one of the later seasons or season four. But I
Yeah.
don't need
He's
to go
been
back to The Walking Dead. I'm in the ones who live, and I like that they're doing their own thing, and they need to keep doing that thing.
He
in my
directed a
opinion.
lot of the Walking Dead episodes of the OG show and Fear episodes also.
I think that if you look at the last 30 seconds of episode 4 and nothing else, that it does match up. I
But
think that
Kara,
episode 4 is going to be very difficult to
but
come
you
off of and
but you
please
said the last
everyone.
30 seconds. That's not even a whole minute. Like out of an hour. Like, come on, what are we talking about?
Right. But they were fighting and this and that, and then they finally cleared the air, and then there was that light, playful sort of cheesiness because
See, you keep
they
saying cheesy. This is
finally.
not a cheesy show. They
Well, I'm
gave
talking
us
about
four
at the
episodes.
end of episode 4 right now.
I don't. Well. I mean, it was a little okay. End of episode 4 was a little. I can. Okay, the last minute of episode 4, I can forgive. Like, it's not like it's not even a fraction of it. It's not
And we
even.
needed that. That was a heavy episode.
Mm-hmm.
So we needed a little cheese to go out with to
Mm-hmm.
make it because we that was a lot to process.
And it's not even just the cheese. Like the cinematography and stuff. Like it just all felt like it went away or something. I don't know. Like when he proposes, that should have been a beautiful shot. Like, I don't care that it's outside in the woods, but it felt like it could have been like better foliage or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm just really in my head about this, but I wanted the visuals to match what they were saying, if that makes sense. I'm being really persnickety right now. I think maybe probably I don't know a little, but I
I
think
don't
other
know.
people felt similar.
I feel like if they start doing stuff like that, then the apocalyptic storyline goes away because every moment can't be the perfect moment.
Not perfect, just beautiful.
I found it beautiful.
I found the words beautiful. I want to look at something pretty. I don't know. Like when I
You
found
ain't see
out that
You ain't see
I,
Denai Guerrero right there. Talking
when
about
I
you about
found
to
out
see
like
something pretty.
in Rick's fantasies, when I found out that that park they were in was like those were cherry blossom trees, but they were all just the flowers were dead because it was winter. I was so mad. Like, can you imagine what that would look like with petals and shit on the ground and just flowers fucking everywhere? And here she comes in, and he's just waiting on the bench. I I felt a little bit robbed. I know they couldn't change the seasons when they filmed. I'm just saying. And I just wish I had never known what those trees were.
Well, I
Hey, at
wish I
least
had
in the
never
dream
known.
sequences, we got her in nicer outfits.
Oh, and better hair. My God. Kudos to whoever was behind that. Probably deny herself. I don't know. Like, oh yes. My one friend is really frustrated. She's like, why can't they just give her a better wig or let her wear her own hair? What is the reason? It's been she was in what's the name in the mall for a year and her hair doesn't change. Like, she could have chopped that shit off and started over. That's I don't wholly disagree. They could just let her wear her own hair at this point. She could have just cut it all off and started over. That would have been pretty cool. But they're dedicated to this look. I'll tell you that.
What do you think of Rick's looking at the portrait of Carl as part of their good life montage? I thought that was sweet. I thought
Yeah.
Carl should be there. You know, he is, even though he is gone, he is still their child. And, well, I think of him as her child, even though he
Mhm.
was older when they met, but just because their relationship was so close.
Oh no, that
So,
was his mom. Totally.
so I like that Rick thought that to include him. And he's still adjusting to the fact that he can remember Carl again.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that moment. It was a nice moment.
I mean,
I
hey,
wrote it down as one
usually
of
those
my
car rides
favorites.
was just the three of them. They're the big three.
I
The
don't
big.
want people to think that just because Rick has another son now that he's going to replace Carl. So I thought that
Oh,
was a nice way
they're
of being like, nobody's going to replace Carl.
oh they're
Carl is
definitely
very
thinking
much
it.
part of the family.
They're definitely thinking it. There's no fixing that.
Well, false, because Carl's still part of the family. Carl's always going to be part of the family. He is the core family. He brought them together.
I
I
mean,
just
but it's ignorant because nobody replaces their child.
yeah, like Carl didn't replace Andre.
Right.
So I mean, they're their own individual people. But no, I can't. I can only entertain so many like dumb thoughts in this fandom at a time. I swear to God, I just don't have the bandwidth.
It's been a rough week on Twitter.
Oh,
Twitter,
yeah.
Facebook, like
It's been a lot of nonsense.
the amount
I've
of
muted and
I
blocked
just
lots
think
of
they're better
people.
as friends. Where's Daryl? Like my God, like shut up, like just stop watching.
No, I
Stop.
literally saw something today that said, I just would have liked it so much better if it was Daryl instead of Michonne.
Oh
So you
yeah, that's
want
a lot of
Rick
that.
and Daryl making out in the woods? I'm confused.
Someone literally said it would have made more sense if Rick had made out with Daryl over Michonne, and I was like, okay, you can just get the fuck out of here. I'm over it.
If y'all could see my face right now.
Oh my God, no wait. Okay, so I laid out the um it was an internment, the season 4 episode when he kind of asks her out and she doesn't get it, and she's like, "Oh no, go do your thing." That scene, I laid it out bullet point by bullet point, the significance of that scene and what's actually happening because so many dum dums missed it. And this one guy was like, "Oh well, when Shane asked Jim about why he was taking those grays and his visions, and they weren't trying to go out with each other," and I was like, "In what world? Like, is it crack? Why would you
Yes.
think that's a comparable scene? That doesn't make any sense. This is the kind of stuff that we have to deal with, and it's like I just don't like. Is the hate so deeply embedded that it is so unfathomable for this man to love this unapologetically, just blackity black woman? Is it so hard to fathom that you're gonna sit here and throw some sort of weird Jim Shane comparison in my face? Like, get the fuck out of here. I just don't understand making that kind of time in your life to watch something that you hate or
It's
participate in hate.
also it's interesting how they would rather have Rick and Daryl in a romantic relationship than have Rick in a relationship with a black woman.
Yep.
Like that speaks volumes. But it's kind of interesting. Like, have they watched the show? Because it's not, that's not the trajectory that's ever been part of the show. And like, there's fanfic for that, and they're free to read that, write that, live that, however they want to. But that's not who Rick is. So I don't understand this obsession with why didn't Rick ask about Daryl?
Look,
Because his wife was there, and that's who he was interested in. His wife and his family. I mean, I know Daryl's technically family, but
they don't put this stuff on Daryl though. By the way, this never comes up with like the Daryl Dixon show or oh, where's Rick? How come he's
Right.
not looking for Daryl? Or
Exactly.
none of that stuff exists. Or like the Book of Carol and stuff like, well, why can't they have Rick cross over? You don't hear
Hmm.
any of that. It does not exist. So to all the people who think it's not racism and misogynoir, it's like you're full of shit, and I don't know what it's going to take to open your eyes, because that's part of the problem too. Well, we don't know that it's prejudicial. We don't know that it's racism. Like it's been like 10 years. I think we do know.
Oh,
I
also,
absolutely know.
speaking of 10 years, just because Rick was on The Walking Dead for well, 8 seasons, that doesn't mean that he was there for 8 years with those people. He was there with for 2 years, 2.5 years. So
Well,
then okay, Judith was 3 years he's been with those people. So then he was with the CRM for 8. No, he's not worried about Daryl or Carol or pretty much any of the people that he probably forgot what they look like if he forgot his own son. But what
yeah.
he is going to remember is that he had a wife and a daughter. I don't understand why that's so difficult to comprehend.
Or the fact that like, oh, he can't remember Carl's face, but y'all think he's sitting there pining for Lori? Like, what?
Right.
Is it meth? Is it crack? Which drug is it?
what was
Because
the thing we're behind? Good Lord. That horse is dead. Stop beating it. She's gone. She was never this interesting when she was there.
he probably stopped seeing her face a long time ago. Like, please stop.
You mean like boring ass Jesse? Like, come on.
I
He,
can't believe people are still bringing her up. Like,
I just want to
that,
make it
talk
clear.
about somebody that he never had any chemistry with. Good Lord. That
He,
was just weird. That whole thing was just a weird, sad chapter that needs to be forgotten. she was never significant to him,
Yeah,
not
she was
ever.
never his girlfriend. They never slept together. He was never in love with her. I don't even know if he was fully in like with her. He was half crazy at the time. Like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
He was crazy. He was depressed. What is it that y'all shipping exactly?
I think
That
the
sad,
only reason,
depressing kiss in the
sorry,
garage?
the only reason that he was like that with her, I think, is because she was a mom and he was still in his Lori mode.
Mm-hmm.
And so he saw someone who was like Lori, a white suburban mom trying to do the best for her kids, and one of her kids was around Carl's age. So I think it was just transference from whatever he was still grappling with about Lori.
That's definitely part of the equation, and also Carol threw her his way as well. I'm not gonna ever forget that.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever manipulation she was working on at the time, she pushed Rick in Jesse's direction intentionally. And just because he was running around trying to be Captain Save-A-Ho doesn't mean that he was in love with that woman or that he had forgotten about Michonne. So I just want to see.
Sidebar: when they found those tasteful nudes, right? The coat Michonne was wearing. Where'd she get this fly ass coat from, y'all?
Oh, I had to look at it again.
I was like, excuse me. Also, I just wanted to make a funny when they turn off that block in the initial scene where we see him coming and they turn off the block with the row houses in the back. It looks so much like New Jersey back there. I just think it was hilarious. Like anybody from New Jersey is going to be like, that is 1,000,000% New Jersey and not Wyoming. Come on, y'all.
Also, it needs to be noted that the streets are saying that there was, in fact, a sex scene in this episode and it got cut
Yeah.
for time when they
Yep.
easily could have cut a million different things, not that. I just, I don't, I want to know what the reason was. And if we don't get the Blu ray DVD thing with the extras, I'm going to be very, very upset.
For anyone that's wondering, it was right after he said Lux holding out.
Oh, yeah. It
Um,
was so obvious that that something was missing there, and I watched it
mhm.
like, wait, what? Where? What? Another
Yeah, he
reason
was
why I'm
supposed to
upset
say
with this
like
episode.
he was supposed to say, "What if I can't wait till we get to the cabin?" And then it was gonna be on and popping.
Yeah, we should have gotten a car scene. Should have gotten a scene at the cabin. Maybe a scene in those woods. I would have taken all three,
Yeah, I was a
and
hundred
wouldn't have
percent
blinked.
positive that we would get a sex scene this time. I was very shocked that we didn't.
Nobody needed all of those scenes of Jadis and Gabe. Nobody needed that.
No, but we got
Nobody
a
asked for
Gabe and
that.
Jada's kiss, but not a Rick and Michonne sex scene on their show. Like y'all stink.
So when they head into the park, when they're heading to the cabin, on the sign, the park sign that says "Protect the Park." What is it? Protect the park from the people from the park, and the people from the people. And
Mm-hmm.
Michonne really that resonates for her. So that was clearly some foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's going to be their mission now is to protect the people of the CRM.
Somebody mentioned PPP with that.
Ah,
And then there was a whiteboard that also had PPP on it.
PPP
Like
exception.
excavation, something PPP excavation
Exception.
exception. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I knew it was something with an E shun on the end. So I don't think that the park sign had anything to particularly do with it, but it could be foreshadowing in addition to the Rick and Michonne mission.
I hope that we can finally lay Heath to rest because this has been hanging on for way too long. I hope we find out what happens to him and what PPP means, but I don't think
Yeah.
we're going to see him.
I thought for sure they would be able to get him for at least one episode. Like I was sure he was going to be in that pilot, sitting there with Rick. I don't know, depressed or whatever. And then maybe they kill him. But at least we could have known what happened to him. But maybe we'll just never get Corey Hawkins. I
Do you
don't
think
know.
he would have gone into the military, or do you think he would have just gone into the city and started working? I feel like he would have been a city dweller.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. But Rick has been in the city and we didn't see him there either. Like it would have been nice if Michonne was walking around or Rick was walking around and he had like one of those stands or something.
Yeah. Yeah, like if he was the fry guy or something.
Like I do poetry slams, guys. I don't know. He seems like a poetry kind of guy to me.
Definitely hanging out at some coffee shop, writing poetry in the corner, doing open mic with some
Exactly.
guitar, doing some folk music and some poetry.
They should tell him, like, listen, Corey, you don't have to put the wig back on. You can have your
Right.
hair.
Your hair could have changed in all these years, even though Michonne's has not.
I just want to say where they are, the building with the flag in front of it, and then the cabin that they go to. They're at Alpine Scout Camp in Alpine, New Jersey. It's part of the Greater New York Council, Boy Scouts of America. I just thought that was a really cool fact.
So I really like that nameplate part, the junior one.
Yeah, I
I
love that
wish
he
he had,
wants to bring him a present.
yeah.
Wait, don't skip past the fact that
Huh?
Michonne shouted black girls out once again because no, my name has never been on a fucking license plate or any of those things with names in gift shops. No, I've never seen my name on one, so I've never liked those things.
I get it, and I also this is like a cultural aside thing. I get it and I don't get it. Obviously, my name is Jillian, whatever. I've occasionally seen my name, not as much as maybe a different name with a J, but on occasion. I can't say I've never seen my name there. But also, my mom's generation, a lot of them, many of them, chose names specifically that were more white aligned, which is why my name is Jillian. And I have like a Todd and a Dylan or a Melanie. Like those are the names that were given to their kids. And it was very intentional for many, like resume reasons mostly, but it was very intentional. So I think there's two sides to that. I just wanted to say that, like, it didn't resonate with me in the way it would have resonated with you because of that name kind of difference thing. But I acknowledge both. That makes sense.
And this is exactly, honestly, why I wanted to do this podcast. So we can have people who've had all different experiences talking about all these little things, these little moments, and how they resonate based on our experiences.
Was
Exactly.
immediately, because of course we live tweet during the episode. I live tweet from the podcast account, and I saw immediately like so many posts like, "Oh my god, I hate those things too. My name's never on there," and I'm like, "Yeah, Takira is never gonna be on one either." Tamika, maybe. Takira, no.
Mm-mm.
And I like that he got the little necklace for her and just broke off the Michelle part.
Oh yeah.
This,
So at least she had something.
do we know when she lost her M? Was it after the prison? I remember her having it in like three, and then I don't know if it's in four. I can't remember.
She probably lost it in the prison.
That's what I'm thinking, just because of all the mayhem and how quick they had to get out of there. Oh, when they were in front of that Wyoming sign and they're both like looking up, I was just cracking up because I'm like, yeah, they're supposed to be looking at mountains, but budget.
Ah!
So we have to pretend look at mountains with them.
At least there was no crappy CGI deer.
Oh my god! Please don't remind me. The deer and the trash heap looks so bad. Oh, it was like, well, why even show it at all?
Of course, now I'm sure they just use AI.
Oh god, please.
Which to me is no better.
All right, so the people they go to help.
These damn
They
idiots.
were kind of corny.
That dude definitely would have been storming the Capitol on January.
Ah, Big
Red,
Red.
yeah,
Was it Red or Big Red? I might be recalling a black film. With that.
Yeah, red and
red with the red gun.
Redneck.
exactly.
Oh,
Yeah, they were just stupid, and Michonne snatching her soups back had me cracking up.
I don't know. Honestly, how did those people survive all those years? Because
Really,
they were not very good at it.
yeah, like
they
But
had to be
Rick did the thing. He did the thing. He did the Rick gun cock. Even though he didn't have the Colt, he had
cold. Yeah,
the long armed side cock. That was very. It's such a Rick thing. You know what I meant. Stop.
I can't help it. I'm sorry.
But it's such a Rick move. So I really like that. And it just seemed like they're finally back in sync. You know, like this is
Mhm.
where they are always at their best when they're out together doing things perfectly in sync. I could watch hours of that. I could watch an entire series just of that.
Absolutely.
Same.
Yeah.
That should have been Tales. That's all I want for Tales of the Walking Dead is just Rick and Michonne
Some,
out there doing their thing.
somebody was
Stop
like,
it, Jill.
we
I
got
know exactly where your mind went when I said that. So
no. I swear, I was thinking about somebody was like, we got 10 seasons of fucking Seventh Heaven. You mean to tell me they can't figure out 10 full episodes of just Rick and Michonne and their kids? Like, stop.
I love it.
Like, what was that show? What were they even doing on that show? I don't know, but I'm
And
sure they could
then
do better.
didn't that guy, the father on Seventh Heaven, didn't he was a pedophile.
Oh
Yeah, we don't.
yeah,
He turned out to be like a really bad dude.
I
And
forgot about
then because I remember everybody was like, wow, they did however many seasons of the show about this perfect family, and this guy was a horrible monster.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that aside.
You
But
know
see,
you know who's not a horrible monster with their kids?
exactly.
Rick
Right
Grimes.
back around. Circling right back. At least in the apocalypse, the monsters are out in the open.
Okay, yes, the okay. Now we can get back to the license plate and the junior. I was like a little saddened. Michonne's like, no one's ever called him junior ever.
But he could. It doesn't mean it can't be
Right.
done.
He
You
definitely
know how
could.
Rick is itching to call that little boy Junior. Stop it.
Hmm.
Stop it, Michelle. Let him have it. Let him have this. Let him call him Junior. I want to see it just once.
Yeah, let
Well, when
them
he's
both have
back,
it.
they're going to have to, he could call him Junior because you're going to have
Mhm.
Rick and Rick Jr.
I think he's just going to call him Son when he first sees him. Or Michelle will introduce them. And I just feel like he won't say RJ. I just feel like he'll say Son. I don't feel like he's going to. I don't feel like that rolls off Rick's tongue so easily. Stop it, Julia.
He might say little brave man.
Oh, maybe.
That's what I was thinking.
I think RJ is going to give him that hat. He's going to give him his hat back. The brave man's come home. Here's your crown, sir.
Mhm.
Obviously, not those words, but you know what I mean. Like, Rick will drop to one knee because he's short, and he'll hug him, and then he'll take off his little hat and give it back to Rick. And then we'll get to see Rick in his hat again. And they can just close on that.
Yeah.
I,
So is this you thinking that we'll see Alexandria before the season's over?
wait, so the kids are definitively there, not Commonwealth.
I don't know. We've
I
been
thought they
really
were at
trying to figure it
Commonwealth when
out.
Daryl left.
I did too, actually.
Like, people keep saying Alexandria. It's like, wait, isn't that like taken over and they're not there? That's what I thought.
I thought they stayed at Commonwealth where there was schools and all of that.
And
There was
that's
like
where
a
Judith wanted
huge
to be.
wall. They watch Daryl drive away on his motorcycle from the Commonwealth wall, don't they? Unless I'm misremembering.
We're gonna have to
I,
go back and
I
look
thought
at
they
that.
were at the Commonwealth
But
too.
Ezekiel and Carol and everybody were at Commonwealth, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And Daryl was too. He doesn't just. I mean,
Yeah,
he
I
does
thought
just
they
leave.
stayed at
But
Commonwealth.
Carol's job was at the Commonwealth. Um,
yeah, they're gonna pull up to Alexandria like, what the fuck?
mm-hmm.
Where are my kids? Where's everybody?
Maybe they get on the radio to try to call home. They're intercepted by someone. Some of our
Yeah,
people within.
Gabriel's got the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Carol was on the radio. Maybe they knock out a Daryl transmission because they're closer.
Mm-hmm. Hell, Morgan was on the radio looking for him. I don't know if he would be that far, like, north
Morgan's
or
back.
west.
I think that's what Carol maybe said. I still don't think she would have been so blasé about saying Rick and Michonne were back. I can't get there. If that's what she was saying, I wish they had made a different acting choice in her tone and presentation, even though they cut it out. But anyway,
I still think it was just because I think she would not have been more emotional on an open channel.
I think it wasn't because the writer or showrunner or whoever said it's something going on personally for Carol, so it's not who
then it would
everybody
have to be
thinks it
Morgan
is.
if it's personal.
When he said that, then I said, okay, so she said Zeke's cancer is back. That's just, I've been convinced that that's what she said.
Would that
Oh,
be important enough that she has to share it with Daryl, though?
Yeah,
That's
no, I
my
don't think
thing
it's
is
that.
like Morgan coming back would not be important enough that she would feel like she has to share that with Daryl on an open channel, and it couldn't wait until he got back.
I think Morgan makes more sense than Ezekiel's cancer. And plus, that's too many syllables.
I think Rick makes the least sense because why would she talk about Rick on an open channel when people are looking for him?
Um, yeah, she wouldn't say Rick. She'd be like, "Your brother came back," and obviously not Merle because he's dead. Daryl saw him dead. Like she wouldn't say Rick's name. She'd say like your brother. Like she, yeah.
Didn't she say he's back? I'm
No, it was
sure
like so.
meaning
It's
her.
like Blank came back. He's like, what?
But
Blank
it was
came
like
back.
space is back. So it was like it's words in there somewhere that were
I
So
think
it
it
missing.
was
was.
intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was definitely intentional. I think maybe they didn't even know themselves when they wrote it. Like, who we going with? I don't know. Let's just
We're just gonna
leave it.
fake them out. So we'll just, throw some syllables in there.
It's
They'll figure it
possible.
out. All right,
Okay.
we need to talk about the elephant in the room, which is the Jadis Gabe meetings. Can we just discuss all of them at once? Because
Yep.
they're all fucking pointless. And
Um,
I they have this thing that they have been doing, and I hate it. They did it with Negan. They've done it with other people. At the end, when they're trying to write these characters out, they try to retroactively either redeem them or try to give them some humanity or whatever. And I just fucking hate it because
it
just
didn't
let them
fucking
be
work.
evil. Just
Didn't
let
fucking work.
them be evil. Let them be
Uh,
awful. Let them be the way they are. Like it just
see,
all of this with Gabe felt totally shoehorned into this episode. It didn't feel like it belonged at all. And I went back just before we recorded this. I went back to World Beyond and I was looking at I just skimmed through the last couple episodes of World Beyond. And it makes no sense because she would have been meeting with Gabe during the time that everything happened in World Beyond, not like physically meeting with him at that time, but she would have been going back to see him once a year while she was doing this. She killed Huck to protect the CRM. Like she was all in and she made a very big deal about the fact that she was all in. She believed the propaganda, we're the last light, all that shit. And then once a year she goes to Gabe and she's like having doubts and it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any
I'm
sense to me.
I,
when
I
I did
didn't.
the sorry when I did the timeline, I'm about 90% sure her first visit walking up on Gabe was immediately after she killed Huck. I think she felt like the piece of shit she was and wanted to go find somebody that she knew had some like softness for her.
Oh, that's interesting. That's
Yeah.
really
I,
interesting.
I'm
Um.
not. I'm not familiar with the show or the timeline, but to me, it read like Gabriel was her last light. Her last like spark of
Mhm.
humanity was in him.
Mhm.
So once a year, she would go and revisit that bit of humanity that she keeps buried most of the time. Um, I know, and I know her last meeting with him because initially she was going to trade in Gabriel, right? She had him strapped down.
Mhm.
But then I don't really. It's kind of fuzzy what happens, but she always kind of struggled with him and who she was trying to be. I thought they kind of explained who she was and who she wasn't nicely. Like the focus on like like I forgot she did those drawings, the mural of the dead of the ones they lost. I forgot that she was an artist at all, and I thought that was kind of like I wish I had died an artist. Like I thought it was quite nice. I don't care for Jadis. I wasn't sad to see her go. I was kind of shocked that she left so soon, but I don't. It didn't seem wholly off to me. Do I think they could have parsed it down a little so that we could have gotten that sex scene? Absolutely. Would I have traded it in? Sure, of course. Why wouldn't I? But I don't. It didn't play badly to me.
Sorry. Agreed. I was gonna say I agree completely. I think maybe we could have gotten one less scene of them.
Maybe it's because I don't like either one of those characters that it fell completely flat for me, and I was irritated that she knew Rick was alive and she didn't
Yeah.
say anything to him. And she's there trying to find her humanity, but she's keeping all these secrets, and she knows they're starving, and she won't help them. Like, then how much of her humanity is she really trying to keep? Because she's not
Mhm.
acting very compassionately or very empathetically. So I didn't feel the struggle. I didn't feel like she was struggling at all or she
Yeah,
would
she
have
wasn't.
been more conflicted about helping them or about telling him that Rick was alive. I
And
did
she
find
even
it interesting when Gabe told her, she asked about Michonne, and Gabe told her that Michonne was out helping people. And I thought, wouldn't it have been interesting if everyone in Alexandria had known that she was out trying to find Rick? And what would have happened if Gabe had told Jadis that Michonne
mm,
found evidence of Rick being alive and had gone off to find him?
I didn't even think about that.
Oh, I don't think he knew at that point, but I also think that Jadis is very sincere. That so Alexandria is connected to other civilizations. If she had tried to get them aid, that means the CRM knows they exist, and they probably would have wiped them out for whatever arbitrary reason they like to wipe out people, which they haven't fully explained yet. But they would have been a target, and she knows that. That's why she can't give him anything. I don't think it was to be cruel or anything like that, but they literally like taking out cities. Like I don't know if it's competition and they just don't want any. Like we're the
Well,
last light, not y'all. Y'all can't be the last light. We're the last fucking light. We're making the rules, and other we can't make all the rules if there's other people trying to dictate what those rules are. So I feel like that's kind of their motivation to
there
be
were
the
enough
sole
jump
government.
points, though. There were enough restock locations that she could have brought them something. She could have just hit up one of the other supply points because we saw that in Fear.
Hmm.
Isabel did that to
Hmm.
help them. Took supplies from one of the restock points and gave them.
Saved the White's life with it.
Yeah, and
Um,
also in one of the points that I noticed when I went back just now to watch World Beyond, Jadis told Felix when they were all facing off. It was the girls and Huck and Felix and the Wish version of Morrissey. I forget his name. Um, what was his name? Percy. Percy. And they were facing off, and Iris said something about the slaughter of Omaha. And Jadis said that the reason that Omaha was destroyed was because they were not self reliant and they had become
mhm.
a drain on the CRM, and so they were wiped out. So that might be relevant in the finale. I don't know, but just for anybody who did not go back to watch World Beyond, keep that in mind. It could be important.
Just wanted to say real quick, that whatever they tried to do with Jadis, I get it. I made a post on Twitter. I was saying, she's been like basically a main character in 3 different Walking Dead universe shows. So I think they wanted to give her character a send off. All that trying to feel bad for her and whatever didn't fucking work. I wanted her to die. I was happy to see her die. She kind of says to Gabe, like she doesn't say it in these words, but she's like, you know, 364 days I'm this person, and then one day I'm this person. So to me, that's her saying like she really doesn't give a shit about what she's doing 364 days of the year, and then she comes there to feel bad about it one day. So yeah,
She's
die, bitch,
confessing.
die.
She's confessing her sins to a priest
Hmm.
1 day a year. That's her. That's how she's able to cope with being a monster for the rest of the year. Is how it read to me, and I don't. Her death scene, her explaining to them about that war within herself. I don't think it was badly done. I don't viscerally hate Jadis. I mean, now she's dead, so like, who cares? But I don't. I disliked her a lot. Did I absolutely hate her? No. I thought she made a good foil, a good villain, whatever, and I thought she would have had more time, quite honestly. And I thought it was interesting. It's interesting. We have to point out that neither Rick nor Michonne could look at her when he shot her in the
Hmm.
head. They both looked away,
Yeah.
which they never do. They don't do that. They will
Hmm.
look you. They will put you eyeball to eyeball and look at you and take take you out. But they couldn't do it here, and I think that also says something about Anne, Miss Anne, as I
I
will call
think they have a tie. Like in that world, no matter what their relationship had become, she was part of their community at one point. She was part of their story. And so I think that probably made it more difficult to put her down. And I do want to say that as much as I don't really care for the character and I felt like I had mixed feelings about this whole arc. Pollyanna was wonderful, and her final scene there
Amazing.
was
Amazing.
fantastic, and she did
Yes.
such a good job with it. So, all the love to Pollyanna. Nothing against her at all. She was
At all.
wonderful.
I just want to say it's messed up how much we have to reiterate that. Obviously, Pollyanna is not the character. These people are not
Mhm.
the characters. And it's like, it's so annoying to me when people don't make that distinction
Mhm.
or they
Yeah,
get
we shouldn't
or
have to always say that, but
like
we
I
always
look,
do.
like me talking about Rosita, that has nothing to do with Christian Serratos. I
Right.
don't like fucking Rosita. I'm sorry. It has nothing. I don't know Christian Serratos. I have no idea what type of person she is because I'm watching the character. I'm critiquing the character. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, come on.
Also, I think a lot of us that despise Jadis are those of us that watched World
Oh,
Beyond. That's
interesting. Yeah, I wonder
Probably.
if that's part of it.
Maybe one day, guys. Maybe one day.
Just go right to season 2. Season 1 was
See, I finished season one, and I didn't work up getting to season two after season one, and I just
season 2 was better,
Beal's in it too,
especially
right?
the second half.
I
Yes.
love season 2.
And Beale's son was a major
Is,
Oh
story
yeah,
arc in season 2.
is it 6 episodes or is it 8, 10? What is
10
it?
each.
Oh my god. Okay, that's overwhelming. I'll think about it. I didn't finish Fear yet either. I gotta catch up. So I've I'll work it out. I'll work it out. Anyways,
But I did think that the scene in the what were they in? Was it a cabin, or was it where they got lured by
like some kind of
the rednecks with all the
sword
curtains
or
So
hanging?
look, do you want to
theater,
know what it actually in reality is, or what it was supposed to be on the show?
some kind of
Either
mess
way.
hall.
So in reality, it's the Hands In for Youth sleepaway camp in New Jersey. That is usually the dining hall. And I
Oh.
will post pics on Twitter for anyone that follows us on Twitter for pictures of like what it usually looks like. I mean, the walls and like the ceiling and everything looks exactly the same, but they just took all the tables and chairs and stuff out and put up all those sheets and stuff. I don't know, I did a deep dive with like locations and timeline stuff with this episode.
I'm glad you did, because that was a level of detail that I was not able to do. But I thought that scene, that whole scene there, was excellent. It was
Hmm.
probably some of the best in the episode, because it was very sharp and it moved well, and I felt like there was the right mix of emotion.
Hmm.
So I really liked that scene.
And then Rick again with his eyebrow. You've looked better. Um, well, I forgot I was going to say one more thing. Oh, Rick. I don't know why he just cracked me up in this scene when she was like, "Come on out, Rick." The way he like peeks his head out around the corner like a creep. I posted that. I posted the gif of Kim Kardashian peeking out from the bushes. Like, cracked me up. Okay. Oh yeah, hold on. The hatchet. The hatchet from the gift shop, which I thought was adorable because yes, they are them exactly, and yes, it's time to teach, RJ some survival stuff, which Judith has been doing already, which is
What?
amazing of her. But the way that hatchet sliced Jada's ass, I said, don't get that little boy that hatchet right now. He gonna slice him.
Oh, she used RJ's hatchet. I thought it was interesting that so Rick's first question was, "Is that who he is?"
Yeah.
A little kid's not even 8 years old, and then Michonne with pride like, "They're us. He's us. Yes, he's a future killer like us." It was kind of like, uh, I mean, I get it, but I also get where he was coming from as well. Like he spent all that time trying to have Carl not be that person. Once upon a time.
Yeah, remember all the way back in 2, he did not want Carl to have a gun or know how to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Farmer. Well, not just two, even in 4. Farmer Rick made Farmer Carl naming pigs and shit. That was what he was trying to do. Like, I want you to play with these blocks. And Carl's like, no, I'm gonna clean this gun. And
But
Rick
that
was
was
like,
also that was also because Carl killed somebody in cold blood.
I
It
know.
was
But that's what, I mean, giving a little kid a hatchet, what does, what do you think he's gonna do with that
that
hatchet?
hatchet. He gonna end
Not
up chopping
a
somebody by mistake with that damn sharp ass hatchet.
toy.
I am glad that Michonne got in that slice though, because she deserved to get a shot in. Like,
Hmm.
I understand, Rick put her down. He had promised he was going to kill her. Okay, fine. But yeah, Michonne deserved to get that shot or that slice because of everything that Jadis
Hmm.
put her through. So I'm glad she got that at least.
She looked like she wanted to whoop her ass when she walked in that room.
Well, he did say maim. That was just so hilarious to me. Well, maybe
And then,
maybe
like,
we
she
could
was
just.
already off her game. Because how don't you know that you can't zip tie a guy with one hand?
She clearly didn't want to do it because I wouldn't even woken them up. I would have just capped them.
Hmm.
Like, okay, they need to be dead. They sleeping. Pow pow. It's over. Like, I'm not gonna wake you up and give you no monologue, bitch.
She said, well, they just put this lovely show on for me, so let me wake him
No,
up and thank him for it.
no. I would have been like, if it's me,
Creeping
cold
on him
blooded,
like Eugene.
like if it's me, cold blooded killer, like, at least they get to die happy. Pop, pop. I'm not gonna wake him up first. That's
The
just
thing is,
she didn't
and
want to do it. She
it's
didn't.
so
She didn't want to.
weird for me to say this about Jadis because she is a homicidal maniac. But I wouldn't put her in the cold-blooded killer category because even with Huck, like she had no choice but to fight Huck. She knew if she didn't kill Huck, Huck was going to kill her. She couldn't kill Gabriel. So many things that she could have done to show us, oh yeah, I'm a cold-blooded in your face killer. She's not. She just, I
She
don't
can
know.
turn off parts of herself.
Yeah.
I
I
think she
can't
kind
think of
of.
a word,
I
but
think she had a kind of love for Gabriel,
mhm.
and it was very confusing because she didn't know. She didn't know who she was ultimately. She's been all these different people. She doesn't. She has. She's an identity crisis. That's what's
Mhm.
wrong with her. So it's easy to crack someone like that. Like, so they can do a bunch of terrible things, and then someone just one moment with like a Gabriel can like bring it back, which I think makes for interesting characters. I don't think it was unearned. I'm still shocked that they killed her so soon. I really am. If this was a 10 episode season, they killed her in 9. Okay, but it was only 6 episodes. We know we're getting a 2. This little tap, this song and dance, like we're not getting to. Like, y'all just okay. Just let's stop. Let's be serious. Okay, you think they're not going to greenlight a season 2 with at least 10 eps of the show that's been the highest rated since 2018, that's increased in viewership with each episode and has knocked out of the park new AMC subscriptions? Like, are you kidding me? You think they're not gonna do it? You think they're not gonna throw a bunch of money their way to do another one?
I think the only way they wouldn't do one is if Denai or Andy were too busy to do it. But since if they do another short season, I don't see why they wouldn't be able to make time for it. But yeah, the only reason I could see one not happening is if they were too busy to commit.
See, that's the
I feel
thing.
like
These shows take so fucking long to give you another season. Like, it's been years. It's going on years now from The Last of Us, right? They're only
Yeah,
just now filming season 2.
the
When did
strike
season 1 come
really hit
out?
that hard.
Well, yeah, the
mhm.
strike, but also just like I remember with Game of Thrones, we had to wait years, a couple of years for like another season. Like, if it's not network television, I don't expect a quick turnaround. Although they're being very efficient with Daryl Dixon, so we'll see. But either way, if it takes a couple of years or if it's a quick turnaround, we're gonna get a season 2. I am 1,000% certain. I would bet money on it, and I do not believe I will have egg on my face by next Sunday. I'm saying that I will not be in the clown makeup. No red noses for me. We're getting a season 2.
I think AMC will want a season 2. They'd be fucking idiots not to. But I also think an ending was recorded that could be a series finale.
No,
And
wait, think about this. In the initial pitch with the AMC execs, they did not want Rick and Michonne to reunite until episode 6. So you can't go into a show season 1 with that kind of mentality without an anticipation in it, without the intention of doing a season 2. It just doesn't make sense. Like, it's not adding up for me.
but then Denai changed it. That's my worry. Like I feel like she know like she
Well,
has
she
a
changed it because
series.
that was a
She has
dumb
another
decision.
It
I
was
don't think
very
she
stupid.
changed it because somebody like they were. I don't believe Andy or Denai are gonna would come to the conclusion that it would be beneficial and not alienate their fans to off one of their beloved characters that they themselves are playing. I just don't see it playing out that way. It
Did you
just
say
doesn't.
off? Wait, how did we get there?
Well, I'm just saying, like, the only reason to not do a season two at some point, maybe not immediately, but at some point, is because one of them died, and I don't think that's happening either. I don't see, I don't, I don't see it. I'm not saying you said that. I'm just generally speaking because I know that idea is floating out there big time, and I know part of that is some people who want Michonne to die, and then part of it is just a genuine fear of some people because we expect people to die on this show because that's kind of what they're known for, but I just don't see the people who brought this show in the first place did it for the sole reason to kill one or both of them. It doesn't make any sense.
I
This
think
show
if
was
anybody
never,
in this universe has plot armor, it's Rick and Michonne.
and the
It's called The
show
Ones Who Live with the motto, believe a little bit longer. Why would they do that? That's sick.
besides
That's
besides
sick.
all that, yes, it is in a horror like universe, and it is in a universe that has zombies, but at the end of the day, it was never advertised as horror or anything. It was advertised as a romance, a love story.
Epic
And so
romance.
people should
Yeah.
stop expecting the two people in the love story or one of them to die. It's ridiculous.
And I will say that in one of my groups, Team Rashon, I believe, one of the admins said, you know what? If they do end up killing either of them for whatever reason, I'm going to leave this group. I'm going to hand it over to someone else, and I'm going to leave this fandom. I will be done forever. And I was like, oh my God, you so real for that, sis. Uh, like, I don't think it's going to happen at all.
So our official view as a group, nobody's dying. At least Rick and Michonne are not dying.
Nope, not at all.
Definitely not.
Absolutely fucking not. Pardon my French.
Ridiculous to even think it.
All right, we need to circle back to the happy moment. The
The
proposal.
proposal.
Yes.
Yeah. I got 10 out of 10. I got nothing to say. It was
Yeah.
beautiful. It was exactly the way it should have been. And when she knelt down with him, that's their relationship. You
Yep.
know, they are equal in
Yep.
everything. And I loved it. Yep.
There are people beefing about the fact that he used quote unquote Jadis's ring. He didn't use Jadis's ring.
That's
He
not
used
Jadis' ring. That was his
Michonne's
It was
ring.
ring.
always
It was
meant to be her
always
ring.
supposed to be Michonne's
Always.
Who
ring.
said
Yes.
those? How do you get
They're
his
like,
Jadis'
oh, he
ring?
used Jadis's ring. I'm like, that was not Jadis's ring.
Did they
Gabe
miss?
literally thought about Rick and
What?
Michonne when he picked it up. So that's whose
He
ring it
got.
was.
Gabe picked that ring up for Rick. Like, did they
Hmm.
close their eyes and shut their ears during that part of the conversation because it was Gabe and Jadis on the screen? Like, he
Hmm.
literally says, "I got this for Rick because Rick wanted me to marry them on the bridge, and I found this ring to give to Rick, and then he got blown off the bridge, so I just been carrying it around." That's Rick's ring. It was always supposed to
Hmm.
be Rick's ring. Gabe and Jadis were just keeping it warm for him. Like, what? What are we talking about?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to do this earlier. Let me just really quick go through this. So, Jadis and Gabe's first meeting was basically during the Whispers arc in the beginning when Rosita and Gabe was messing with that little radio and she found out she was pregnant and all that other stuff. That was around their first meeting. Second meeting was when they were starving, the storm came, Hurricane Rosita. That's what I wrote down as like something to remember by. And then that last meeting was between like in the final episode of the main series in that 1 year time jump. That final meeting was in that 1 year time jump after Rosita died already. Because everyone has been very confused about that timeline. And sorry, I just want to pull up the questions from Twitter.
Thank you for doing that timeline. That's very helpful because, yeah, I couldn't figure out where those meetings would have taken place because it's hard to keep, there's a bunch of shows and trying to keep every timeline straight and see how they all interact is difficult. And I failed math, so I don't.
And then with these time jumps, they don't make anything easy. But also Seth and his acting, love it. But Gabe's like demeanor with every meeting kind of got worse. He was kind of happy to see her and hopeful that, he could like bring her around and maybe change her back for the better. He was getting more and more frustrated with every meeting. And I don't even think the frustration was with her, but there was so much going on back home. And, a lot of people are mad at Gabe, like, oh, he was giving out too much information saying that they were starving. But it's like, he didn't really tell her anything about what was going on back home, if you ask me, with remembering the timeline and all the things that were going on at those times. There's so many other, she doesn't even know about the Commonwealth, but he would come, he would walk up, he would put his crate down, and then he would drop his bag. And then that last time, he like basically slammed the bag down into the crate, just life pissing him off. So I don't know. I thought those were some interesting little details that he added in without words that I thought was kind of cool. Okay, that was one of the questions. Do you think Gabriel was too trusting of Anne Jadis when telling her about the Alexandrians' issues? Due to the fact that she couldn't talk about her situation, wouldn't Gabe be in his priestly confidentiality if she said anything or does anything that does not apply in the apocalypse?
I think for him, he still takes that vow pretty seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he would still keep anything confidential. I'm not sure the apocalypse would change that. I think if she had met him back when the rest of the group met him and his faith was sporadic because of what he had done, maybe not. But I think now he's fully back in his priest mode, for lack of a better term. So I think he would have kept anything that she said confidential.
I think he did do those little visits as like her confessions, and I think that's a huge reason why no one in Alexandria knows that he was meeting with her, because he does look at it as like she basically walked into a confessional.
I don't have a lot to say about that. I don't think he was telling anyone. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I think that's good. We had
I,
another question too, right?
Finale predictions, basically, and where does everyone think Gabriel, like what timeline do we think Gabriel was in that first shot?
Okay,
present
we
day.
explained your timeline and we
Yeah.
agree present day. All right, finale predictions. Wait, let's rate this episode. I'm gonna rate this one a 7 out of 10. It was my least favorite. Yeah, it was my least favorite.
I would agree. I think I ranked it last publicly. I don't know, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense given all the things that we get also out of it. It's very confusing, is what I'll say.
I rated it. I actually never rated it. I did put all the episodes in order, and my order has changed constantly. The only thing that hasn't changed is that 4 goes first. But I think I'll give it, surprisingly. Oh, I guess I lied because it's getting a 9 out of 10, guys. I said before that every episode would get a 10 out of 10.
Jill, was 4 your favorite too?
I actually made an amendment. I tied 1 and 4. I didn't want to pick which one came first. I'm leaning towards 1, but I put them as a tie for my number 1 rank. I just refuse to choose between them right now. They're my children. They are my babies.
I think my rank of all of the episodes would be 4, 1, 3, 2, and then 5.
I think my most updated one is 4, 1.
1 and 4, 3, 2, 5. I'm pretty sure that's what I posted already, but I'm gonna have to sit back and rewatch all of them again and then come to a final conclusion. But right now, I think if 5 had done a few things differently, it just doesn't make sense. I hear myself saying 5 is last, and that doesn't mean any of them are bad. I wouldn't give anything lower than an 8 out of 10. But there's just, if 5 had come before 4, which also doesn't make any sense, why would 5 come before 4? You just can't come off of number 4, and then like you can't come off of number 1. Maybe that's my problem with episode 2. You can't come off of episode 1 and then, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, everything is gonna. It's
Like,
the
damn.
episodes following an exceptional episode are gonna look worse than they actually are when you compare them to the incredible episode before it.
Yeah.
I
Like, if
think
I had
that's
seen
the
episode
opinion
2
of
first, I would have.
I
ranked
think
it
that's the
higher.
opinion of people that like Rick more, because people that like Michonne more definitely rank episode 2 higher.
Well, okay, I do like Rick more, but also someone pointed out to me, a friend of mine, hey Andy, if you're listening, she was like, it's like a Western. I was like, oh, you're right, you're right. And I fucking hate Westerns. So maybe that's also like, that's my struggle, was the vibe of it, the Western vibe of it. Cause it's like, I love Matt. I love the journey and the tears and the ending, but I still rank it low. Maybe as that westerny vibe I can't get away from. But yeah, no, Rick is definitely my fave. I started this series because of Rick. I almost stopped watching when he left, and then I kept watching out of almost an obligation, like a fandom obligation. I just kept going. My heart
You're keeping
left
an
with
eye on everybody when he was gone.
yeah, my heart left with him. I'm not gonna lie. I was
Y'all
connected to
crazy.
Rick's story. I wanted this man to find his family, and I remember him laying there after Dwayne lays him out, and he's like, girl, I found you." And it's like, that's who I've been rooting for this whole time. And then they took him away, and I was like, oh,
If
I gotta
anybody's
keep watching
wondering,
now.
I'm a Walking Dead girl.
I'm a Rick girl.
Nothing would have made me stop watching The Walking Dead.
Don't hate
Nothing
me,
will make me
guys.
not watch spin-offs. Nothing will make me not watch webisodes. I am a Walking Dead girl through and through.
I'm a fangirl. And some of the stuff, like I like, I swear to God, like sometimes, like it is work doing the things that we do. It is unpaid work, and sometimes I will toil through the races, and I will have my hands cramped up writing fucking fanfic and making videos and doing these posts because like I know the importance of fandom. I know what fandom has done for me. And I don't want to deny anyone that experience. Like having safe places to go to and to celebrate your favorite characters. I get it, man. Like that's me. That's me. And I created the Living Rashon on the sole reason because at the time when I was looking, there were no fucking Rashon fan pages. There was one. No, there was one and it was dead. There had been posts like this is before they not went canon. This is before they consummated their relationship in season 6. There was nothing for me to look at. So I was like, well shit, I'll do it myself. And
Hmm.
that's how the Living Rashon was born. So I just wanted to I'm sorry for that rant. I don't even know where I'm going anymore. So I'm gonna shut up.
All right, so let's get to our finale predictions. Do we think that they will end up reunited with the children, either at Commonwealth or at Alexandria? We're not sure where the children are at, but do we think they are going to reunite with their people?
I think there's zero way that they end this season without them seeing their kid.
I agree. I think that's other than Michonne and Rick reuniting, him getting to meet RJ and
Hmm.
reunite with his kids is one of those things that they just cannot not give us.
Hmm.
So I am absolutely confident they're going to see those kids in 6. We're going to see it before it ends.
If the whole idea was to have this wrapped up to be like a fulfilling conclusion under the premise that we may not get a season 2, if that was the goal, then obviously yes, they're going to see Judith and RJ. I don't see it going any other way that would make sense for the story, which has been like a lovely big love letter to the Rashon fans. So you can't write a letter to the Rashon fans and then end it on a sour note of Rick not finally meeting fucking Rick Jr. and checking in on Judith. That's just an impossibility. I don't know how they're gonna wrap it up in 70 minutes. I think it's just a little bit over an hour, not including commercial breaks, so maybe like a 90-minute episode with commercials. They have to wind it down in such they this has all been wish fulfillment, but realize so not even wish fulfillment. This has all been what's been in our hearts. We got wedding proposal shit. We got reuniting. We got amazing sex for one episode that we never saw again so far, and hopefully they fix that in episode 6 before they go to the CRM. Like they got to get it in one more time on screen. I'm just saying they got to get it in one more time on screen. Come on, come on. Uh, we get all these things, Of course, it's going to end with the kids. And Rick is going to get that fucking hat. RJ is going to give him that hat. That's how it ends. I'm calling it right now. And if it doesn't end that way, well, it better be better than what I imagined in my head.
Well, obviously, Rick is not going to, even Rick and Michonne together are not going to be able to take down CRM in one episode. So, whatever happens at the summit is going to have to be continued over to season 2. Do you think that the echelon briefing will change how Rick and Michonne view the CRM? Like, what do we think is in this echelon briefing that is so life changing for people?
I don't know. I still don't. I hope we get to see it. I hope they explain, at least give me a Cliff's Notes of what this is supposed to be so we can know what Thorne saw and why it's turning these people into like cult members. That's basically what it's doing. Whatever the echelon brief is, like it's got to be some Jim Jones type of shit. I don't know. It's got to be something in there. Maybe they like just put you in a room and have your eyes like forced open and then they like put a spiral in front of you. I don't know.
I think that the echelon briefing is related to the experiments that were going on in World Beyond, where they were trying to find a cure and they were testing on people, but they had had some success with what they were doing. And I think at some part of the echelon briefing, they are laying out to people what their plan is and how close they are to a cure. Because that's the only thing that I can think of that would make people true believers after hearing this briefing. If they're hearing that we're so close to a cure, we're going to be able to bring the world back, we're going to be able to take care of all this. I can see people becoming inspired by that and being like, okay, we have to do what we have to do to keep this going because they're going to find the cure. Or maybe it has something to do with the scientists who were in the United States when it happened. I don't know, but I think it's somehow tied to CRM's trying to find a cure.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, Jadis said something weird about like a year plan or 500-year plan or something crazy like that. I feel like that's part of the echelon briefing. The CRM has this whole plan where they think that these steps that they take now are all leading to eventually self sustainability for their little town in destroying everyone else that will be essentially using resources that they're going to need to survive for the next 500 years or however long she said the plan was. And I think that the only thing that could make people say, oh yeah, we're okay with killing everyone else in the United States or whatever the plan is like you said, if even if it's a lie, if they're telling them that, oh, we're so close to a cure, we just need, this many more test subjects or we need this many more years or whatever the case may be. Like their plan ultimately is to eradicate all the walkers or cure them.
I
And
don't
do
think
we
there's
think,
a cure for that. They pretty dead.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think,
extra dead.
do we think that this will somehow tie into what's going on in France?
I kind of do. I feel like those experiments are somehow in the echelon briefing.
I feel like it's going to because from what we know about the CRM, they are focused on bringing the world back. And we know they don't want any other groups around that could possibly, let's say, that aren't self sufficient. So I think they're going to view Janae's plan to take over the world with an army of walkers as a threat.
Mm.
So I think that there's definitely going to be conflict there. But I'm not sure how they're going to find out about it because if they don't even know about fucking Commonwealth, they don't know about what's going on in France.
Oh, I'm convinced that they've always known about the Commonwealth, or at least somebody there has always known because Lance. I've been convinced ever since he said that little line to Pamela about, oh, there's certain, deals I have going that you won't be able to control if I'm gone, basically.
Yeah, I think that's probably accurate. And they probably leave Commonwealth alone because Commonwealth is pretty self sufficient.
Mm
But the people who get kicked out of Commonwealth, I bet they hand over to the CRM.
hmm.
Or at least
Mm
Lance was handing them over to the CRM.
hmm.
I would I would think they would know about Commonwealth, but I would also think they would know about whatever governmental entity that Daryl is dealing with. Because, like, if you have a 500-year plan and you have access to all this technology and helicopters and shit, I mean, maybe they even have access to planes. We don't know. Why wouldn't you check in on other countries to see what's left over there? That would be one of the first things you do to see what other civilizations do we have. And then obviously, if Daryl can talk to Carol from France on his radio, why would these governmental entities who have more technological advances than they do than a ham radio to speak across the pond? Like, why wouldn't you do that? It doesn't.
He was on the state side when he talked to her on the radio.
Oh, he was. Shit. Okay, I've only seen it once.
Yeah, he was in Maine.
Okay. Well, I still think. I mean, it's for this. What CRM is factions of left of our own government, right? And I would think they would try to reach out to allies for whatever
Hmm.
reason, aid or see. Hey, how are you doing on the science end for this fucking thing? They'd have to be in some kind of communications with someone around the globe. I
Well,
just
I
can't
think
imagine.
we're going to find out more, I think, at the summit, because they said that all the top brass will be at the summit. So I'm guessing we're going to get some information about what the CRM does know or what they're up to at that meeting.
Who knows who we'll actually see at this summit? That's my brain is just going crazy with the possibilities of who is in their top brass and who's going to show up at this summit.
All right, any predictions for any other characters that we might see in the finale or
Yeah.
hear from?
Yes, I think we will hear the ringing of the bells for the next Grimes child. I have no doubt that they were working on a baby despite their precarious situation and trying to get back home. I don't think Rick was pulling out one time ever. I don't. I'm sorry. It's been Cream City
Um,
all the way to Virginia.
I remember Terry O'Quinn saying that they gave him like the longest. Basically, there's more coming from him because he was saying like he has this super long speech, the longest speech he's ever given on any television show that
Wait,
he's
who?
ever seen on the script. Terry O'Quinn, General Bill. So there'll be more from him, and then I think Pearl's gonna die. It's not even wishful thinking at this point. I just kind of think she will.
Really? I don't think
Yeah,
she is.
that
I don't
whole
think
"you
we're done
guys are
with
gonna
her.
feel bad for her at the end" comment that she gave made me feel like she's gonna die.
I don't think she's going to die yet. I think they're going to leave her open ended in case they want to bring her back in season two.
Yeah,
I
they
think
can't
if
kill all
they
the new people.
Yeah.
the rest of them did.
Still mad about Nad. Still mad.
Yeah.
Gonna be mad about that always.
I just feel
Man,
like if they do a season two, it'll be like Bill will then be the big bad of season two.
I wonder
I
if we'll
think
see his son.
I think Thorn will
Right.
defect. Is what I think. I think she will live away from CRM. I think she'll defect. Her whole thing was watching Rick for hope. And when she sees him again, he will not have only reunited with this woman who he loves, but got the opportunity to marry her. I
Well, it's
think.
interesting. The first thing she said to him was that she should be thanking him for showing her that she couldn't get away or something like that. The first time we saw her, she said something like that to Rick, and maybe he will show her that there is hope to get away, and maybe she will join them
I
instead.
definitely had I had I think four Pearl theories because sometimes she can be a little bit of a wild card, but one of my theories is that she just disappears. Like after
Are you
realizing
sure you just
who
don't want her to disappear?
no, not like in a bad way, but like she sees
Poof, be
she
gone.
realizes who Dana actually is and leaves, kind of disappears. Because if she's trying to get back to Africa, we definitely ain't gonna see her ass ever again.
I don't think she'll leave, but like you can't ignore. Like one of the things she says to Rick is, "They're not gone, we are," and then Rick can turn around and say to her, "I was gone and she fucking found me." Like, if anything can make you a believer, Pearl, it's got to be this. She found me in all this nonsense. Thought I was dead, gone for years. She came and found me anyway. So keep hope alive.
Right, but that wouldn't make her stay at the CRM.
No, no, I don't mean for her to stay at CRM. I think she'll defect. I think she'll leave with Rick and not Dana.
All right, so is there one particular thing, if you could have anything in the finale, what's the one thing that would make it absolutely perfect for you?
I'm coming back to that hat.
The
I have
hat.
to see RJ give his dad the hat, and then I can cry a little bit. That's what I need to see. And then I need to see a pregnancy test. Okay, I don't need to. In my head, it's already
It's already cooking.
it's already cooking.
I want to see the wedding. I know it won't happen because they won't have the time and all of that. And I will be very happy when he meets RJ and when he sees Judith, and I will cry. But I want the wedding. We've seen the proposal. We waited all those years for them to find each other again. I want her in the flowy boho white dress, and I want Judith to be her maid of honor, and I want all of it. I want RJ to be their little ring bearer. I want the wedding.
I guess I'm easy. I'm good just having the four of them on screen together.
Also, I have to say before we close out, I almost forgot the okay. So until ep 5, the idea was in my head that they had gotten married off screen, which is what many Rashoners had been saying since like season 7, I think. So to and the way that he so passionately tells Okafor that my wife is my choice, only to then learn she wasn't actually his wife. But he doesn't say my girlfriend. He doesn't say my lover. He says my wife. So to know that this woman has been in his heart this whole time as his person, as his wife. That's it. I'm done. I still have a wife out there, not just a woman or a lady friend or whatever. I think that was just everything. Everything. There's a
Once
lot
Rick
of ways he
made
could have said that, but he was very clear on who she is to him. So, and then to know that that wasn't even, he hadn't even proposed yet. He hadn't even done it yet. But it doesn't matter because that's who she is to him.
Yeah, that's because once he made the decision that he was gonna propose, they were married.
And I'm just want to say, oh, and Gimple wrote that shit. Gimple wrote that fucking line. My wife is my choice, man. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it so much. Okay, okay, I'm done.
Well, that seems like a good place to wrap up. But for the finale, we should let everybody know for the finale, we're going to be on Twitter, we're going to be in spaces, we're going to be around. So everybody should come on Twitter and come on spaces, and we can all talk about the finale together.
We'll
Or
have pizza
Facebook.
and
I might
wine.
wait to watch it live and not be anywhere remotely on social media at all because if it's ruined for me, I'll have to murder someone. But I might do a live on my Facebook. I know we're doing spaces and everything after, like right, like immediately afterwards, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I might do a live. If I do a live, I'll have to sequester myself until the show starts. I can't
We'll
look at
watch our
anything.
social media. We'll announce what we're going to do. Get your
Karen, text me.
pizzas, get your drinks of choice.
I will. I swear to God, I will delete Twitter. I will delete it if I don't watch the episode. Like it'd be like 301 spoilers everywhere, gifts, everything, just telling the whole fucking story. Don't if you don't have AMC Plus and you don't watch it immediately, please stay off social media.
Oh,
Don't ruin
yeah.
it for yourselves, guys.
Yep, absolutely.
So I feel ridiculous that this is so many episodes in, and it's literally the first time that I'm saying we're on Facebook, Instagram, Threads,
So
and
I didn't know
Twitter.
all that.
Follow us on any or all of the socials. Thank you to all the people that have been running to our Facebook page. We've grown exponentially over there. Thank you for all our new listeners. I've been noticing there's a lot of new listeners. I've noticed that you guys are going back and listening from episode 1. So thank you for being so interested.
Should we announce our upcoming?
Absolutely.
All right. So we're not ready to let this go. And whether we get a season 2 or not, we are going to keep Rashon going, and we're actually going to go backward, and we're going to do a series called Rishon Revisited, and we're going to go back and break down all the significant episodes in the Rishon timeline. So we'll give you a list of episodes so that you can watch them too, and then we'll go back and talk about them all.
Lots of
And we will
nostalgia.
mention every elevator eyeball, every bending over, checking out her ass scene that
Mhm.
some of y'all have missed. Allegedly, I don't believe y'all missed them. We'll discuss it.
Lots of fun. Lots of fun. Just lots of I think we could be a little not that we're super serious now, but I think we can be a little more laid back, and it'll be a little bit more like a hangout going over reminiscent Rashon episodes. Okay. Well, thank you for joining us, everyone. And I am both nervous and excited for next week to get this season finale in and see how it ends and see if we're going to come back next season or if there will be a next season to come back to. Thank you for listening, everyone. We'll
Thank
see you next
you.
week.
Bye.